Today, we're going to be talking about our fantastic program and master's degree in biosocial medical anthropology. And as Anna said, I am Carrie Ryan. I'm a lecturer in biosocial medical anthropology here in the department, and I'm also convener of this master's program this year. So I'm well positioned to talk to you about the nature of this course, why we think it is an innovative course. It's one of a kind here in the UK. And it's also really in a kind of emerging part of anthropology and biosocial science. And we're trying to tackle some new questions theoretically and also methodologically in this master's. So, as I said, this is really the first of its kind, this master's program, in bringing together the social, the medical, biological, and human ecological in anthropology in one master's degree. It is the only type of its kind here in the UK. There's only a couple of programs like this in the US. And we are really proud to be one of the kind of first to put this master's together here in the UK context. UCL's department is a really fantastic place to study biosocial medical anthropology. The department here at UCL really is representative of the four subfields of anthropology. And it really is trying to bring together in its teaching and also in its practice research around biological, social, medical, and environmental anthropology. Biosocial medical anthropology, as I said earlier, is really a new way to think about how to really seriously blend social and biological approaches in anthropology. Medical anthropology has been very good at thinking about health and disease from a social and cultural perspective. But really, in the last decade or so, there have been attempts to try to bring the body back into our analysis. And this is really where social anthropologists who've been doing medical anthropology are thinking about how to integrate biological approaches and biological research in their work to more holistically understand the biosocial implications of health and disease. And this program is trying to introduce you to that new attempt that anthropology is trying to do by integrating the social and biological together. In some ways, this is not a new thing that anthropology is doing. Anthropology has always tried to be holistic in its approach to understanding health and disease, but also human life more generally. But there have been all sorts of theoretical developments across the years that have really torn the biological and the social apart. And it's really only been in the last decade, in anthropology in particular, where they have been brought together with more intention. There's also a kind of emerging biosocial science in other disciplines, but we here in the UCL department think that anthropology in particular has a unique perspective to offer to this biosocial discussion. Our ethnographic approach, the way that we understand and theorize both the social and the biological is very unique in our own disciplinary way. And this degree is really trying to introduce you not only to biosocial science, but an anthropological approach to biosocial science. Within this degree, we think about all sorts of emergent health issues, from COVID-19 to the Anthropocene to chronic disease, mental health, population aging, and more. And we're trying to equip you with the skills to solve some of the world's most challenging and complex health problems. Not only intellectual skills, but also methodological ones. One of the big emphases of this degree is to give you the tools to do mixed methods research. And this is a real important area for biosocial science. We have a really varied staff that really sits across the department here at UCL that teaches on this degree. That all have really fantastic expertise, research expertise that is contributed to this course. My work is around population aging, and biosocial aging is a really relevant field to think about how we're going to handle population aging in the future. My colleague Dalia Iskander's work is on malaria in the Philippines, And she's really interested in the biosocial approach to epidemics, including COVID-19. Marie-Annick Moreau is an environmental anthropologist, and she's interested in the impact of climate change on health, in particular on fisheries in the south of Africa. Emily Emmett has done a lot of her work on breastfeeding and breastfeeding policy here in the UK, and she takes a really excellent look at the biosocial origins and biological origins of breastfeeding. Lewis Daly is interested in multi-species ethnography, thinking more generally about how, for example, One Health is an emerging paradigm, and how the health of other species is intimately intertwined with our own. Denise Salali is our departmental expert on is it evolutionary medicine, and she teaches a course here in the department on evolutionary medicine and also gives a week on evolutionary approaches to health and disease for our course. And lastly, Aaron Parkhurst is an expert on mental and chronic health in Dubai, but he's now doing his work in space, and he's thinking about the biosocial implications of space programs in the contemporary era. So you will be introduced to a wide range of staff who have expertise across some of the most pressing areas of health issues today. And each one of these approaches is a way to introduce you to various ways that anthropology understands the biosocial, from evolutionary, social, and biological approaches. The program structure is, I think, a really important one. The first term is introducing you to some of the theoretical approaches to the biosocial and to the biosocial within anthropology. You will not only get that theoretical introduction in the first couple of weeks of the first term, but then you will be introduced to that wide variety of research that I just introduced you to of my colleagues, and think about how the biosocial is refracted through different topical lenses, both theoretically as well as methodologically. You will also be given methods training. Methods training is not only in ethnographic methods, thinking about what anthropology in particular can contribute to biosocial science, but for some of those of you who have not had statistics training before, you will also receive statistics training so that you will be able to do mixed methods research for your dissertation. Part of the dissertation for this program requires that you do mixed methods research. And we incorporate that not only because biosocial science requires that kind of mixed methods approach, but also because in terms of employability, having that mixed methods approach is really favorable if you're going to go into health policy or any health arena. The second term of our course is all about methodological training, but also theoretical training for you to be able to carry out your dissertation. So the dissertation really is the capstone project of this degree. It allows you to incorporate everything that you've learned in the courses that you take with us into a research question that you yourself find meaningful and important. And you will work with a supervisor for 9 months on this to develop that project. You'll also be given the opportunity to take between 2 to 3 optional courses. And these optional courses really offer a wide variety of possibilities within our department to think about the biosocial in interesting lenses, from evolutionary medicine to the ecology of human groups. We have a great program in medical anthropology, applied medical anthropology. We have a course on nutrition, health, and culture, thinking very carefully about the role of nutrition in human health. And we've teamed up with the nutrition department here at UCL to co-teach this course. So you really get a biosocial perspective on how biological sciences like nutritionists think about the importance of nutrition and how social anthropologists think about the importance of nutrition, as well as migration in health and the anthropology of infectious disease. This is just a couple of the optional courses that you can take, and I encourage you to look on our website to see more options available to you. We have about 15 more options that would be relevant for this course. As I said, the dissertation is one of the greatest parts of this program, and it's really an opportunity for you to conduct research on an issue that you care about. And what makes UCL very particular is that we allow our students to carry out field work. Lots of anthropology departments don't allow their students to carry out this kind of field work, but we think that it is an incredibly important part of a master's education. So we have some students who are going to Fez, Morocco this year. We've had students who've stayed locally and done work on health policy here in the UK. There's so many options available to you in that regard. You'll also, as I said, be having to include a mixed methods approach in your work. And this is in some way trying to integrate quantitative and qualitative ways of knowing in your approach to your research question. As I said earlier, this mixed methods approach is incredibly important for biosocial science. And it's been one of the key reasons why so many of our students have had high employability after this program. Mixed methods approaches are really, really useful in health, and that ethnographic approach even more so. So it's a really great way to practice some of these important skills. You'll work one-on-one with a supervisor who has relevant expertise in your area. And that kind of supervision is a great preparation for you to undertake doctoral research as well. So this is a key part of the program training, is being able to undertake this big piece of your own individual research. We've had so many students undertake a variety of research topics, from syndemics, immigration and disability, to health and resilience amongst UK lesbian, gay and bisexual women aged 50 and over, to biosocial approaches to modeling trauma and thinking anew about how we should be thinking about trauma as a biosocial phenomenon. And lastly, one of my students last year's great dissertation called Milking Kinship, exploring induced lactation in the practice of parental co-nursing, thinking about new innovative approaches to breastfeeding as social arrangements of marriage change. Employability. So this is a big key question for a lot of the students who come to our program. What kinds of skills will you be able to leave with, and where have students who've undertaken this degree gone? We really believe that this program equips you with an interdisciplinary approach that allows you to think in really critical ways about health issues, disease and medicine, and anything that's related to that, including epidemics, climate change, and the Anthropocene. So you will leave this program with really important theoretical tools to work within global or public health, for example, or NGOs, to try to tackle some of these really complicated health problems. Not only that, but we also really help to deliver to you key methodological skills. And I said earlier, and I'll say it again, this mixed methods approach is more and more important and more desirable for a lot of positions within health organizations. We expect our graduates to go into careers in academia, clinical research, public and global healthcare, and government and non-governmental organizations. We've also had lots of our students go on to undertake doctoral degrees here in biosocial science, funded by the UCL ESRC SOC-B Biosocial grant, as well as the ESRC UBEL doctoral training programs. And this is really exciting. We've had lots of our students go on to this program. And because we are one of the only biosocially focused master's degree, we usually have quite a bit of success getting our students into these doctoral programs. So our training sets you up well to be able to undertake this doctoral research here at UCL or across the UK. That's all I have for our presentation section. And now I'm curious to hear about any of the questions that you all have about our program.